This is One Voice Radio Media.
And today we have a very special guest.
And today we've got a special guest
joining us in the studio.
We
have Debby.
We have Debby,
who is the co-editor.
Who's the co-editor
of AuKids. magazine. And her son. Bobby. And thank you for coming in.
Thank you for inviting us. We're very honoured to be here.
Brilliant. So do you want to ask your first question there, James?
Right, first question.
Nice and easy.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. The sun is shining, which is always a good thing. How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing pretty good myself. Considering the time that we live in, it's a pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good.
Fair enough. Good shout.
And thank you for giving us such a warm welcome. I've been in radio studios before where you get a quick handshake and then you're on air. You don't meet everybody and say hi and get made a cup of tea. So thank you everybody for making us so welcome.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, isn't it? Okay, Sarah, do you want to ask your question?
Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, so you know my name is Debby, and in 2003 I had my twins Bobby and Alec. Bobby's with us here today, but he's got a twin called Alec who goes to the Seashell Trust, which is a college for pupils with special needs, and he has a house there as well. After they were born, at about the age of 3, it was recognised that both twins were autistic, and I didn't know anything about it at the time, and so I decided to try and find out as much as I could, and I thought that the information was a bit dull, a bit negative, not the words that I would have used to describe my twins. I didn't really feel that I was getting the information that I wanted, and it was all very confusing. And I met a lovely speech and language therapist who was working with both my boys, called Tori, and we became really good friends. And she knew that I had been a writer for a newspaper before I had the twins, and she asked me whether we should do a magazine together for parents like me. So I said yes, why not, thinking, okay, I've got 4-year-old twins, I can think of quite a lot of reasons why this isn't a good idea. But we did it, and the result was AuKids magazine, and it ran for 12 years, and now it's free to download online for anybody who wants it. So I, in a sense, became an author and became knowledgeable about autism through writing for other parents over a decade. And I don't know if you want a separate answer from Bobby.
Do you want to tell us anything about yourself, Bobby?
What can I say? It's just me right now.
Just you.
Fair enough. I used to go to uni, but I did drop out because after 2 years, because the pressure was kind of too much, and now I'm just figuring out where to go in life. Apart from that, I just spend my free time just playing in games, I guess, just mainly Nintendo games. But apart from, I do tend to do a bit of reading every now and then.
More reading than I do. Good answers. So, Louise, do you want to ask yours then, mate?
Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
What is AuKids magazine?
What is it?
It's pronounced AuKids.
Yeah. So it's a parenting magazine for parents of children, I would say under the age of 10. So all the confusing things at first that you think, that's not quite what I was expecting. Why does my child do that? And if they're distressed, what can I do to help? And it was designed to answer all those questions, but in a really lively way with loads of cartoons and pictures And we always try to make it lively to read, so we might have like a theme for the feature, so quite cake featured quite a lot. When we talked about speech language therapy, we talked about how you develop language, and we did it as a layer cake. So there was always some kind of visual idea to make it more easy to read and a bit more fun to read. And when you're having fun, you learn better, I find. I don't know about you guys. So we had a terrific designer called Jo Perry, who, quick shout out to Jo, does her own children's illustrated books now as well. And Jo was the one that took our ideas and made them like really wacky. And so over time, I think that probably the first 5 years of the magazine was us interviewing experts and thinking, okay, who are the best people who can answer our questions? Let's go to them on behalf of our readers, which is a really exciting way to learn about autism. And then as we grew, we found that the autistic community were talking more for themselves and publishing more books. So we came to autistic people more, and then we started thinking ourselves of things that we didn't think were very well explained and that we could explain a little bit better. So it kind of grew over the years until sort of people saw kids as a voice in its own right, if that makes sense, because we were trying to do something different.
What I really liked is obviously you kind of didn't just focus on autism in this country. There's a couple of articles about different countries, isn't there? I saw about Africa as well and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of don't really think about the differences that it is, but I thought that was quite nice. That
Thanks.
You just...
Yeah, I mean, I think that was because we came across, like we did a lot of exhibitions, and we came across a lot of parents saying, oh, well, the help we get, it isn't that great in this country. And we thought, have you seen other countries?
Seen this, yeah.
So, for instance, in America, there are some great experts in autism in America, but there's also quite a lot of people trying to, I guess, make autism disappear or change autistic people. We're not like that in this country. We're very much, you be you, and we will support you to be you, which is a lot more how Tori and I think it should be. And in some African countries, people still think that autism is caused by spirits, and it's all very superstitious. So I think sometimes it's nice for the UK to just sort of turn around and go, do you know what? We are the world leaders here. We are doing really well in terms of knowledge and supporting
I agree.
autistic people.
Can I just say this isn't especially an issue with America, especially with all the so-called charities that these organisations that plague it.
Yeah.
It's a very different culture.
It's only a lucky chance that we as a country, what can I say? We advocate it.
We're accepted.
We do.
A bit more accepted.
We do. And we've had a lot of famous, brilliant people who are autistic. Come from this country. Even scientists who, when the word autism wasn't around, we know now that they were very probably autistic. So I think knowing that some of the greatest discoveries in your country were made by autistic people probably makes you have a bit more of a positive attitude. Yeah.
Alright then, Rob, do you want to ask yours, mate?
What inspires you to do what you do?
I think my boys inspired me, because before Bobby and Alec were born, I was working for a local newspaper in Wiltshire called the Gazette and Herald, and I was doing a little bit of editing, but I was doing a lot of writing about films and fun stuff like that, and it was really cool, but it didn't make a huge difference to people's lives. I think you can write a film review and then somebody reads it and throws it away. And then when the boys were born and I met up with Tori for the magazine, I think it was thinking, okay, if something's confusing me, it's going to be confusing other parents out there. Let's just learn about it together and make life easier, not just for me, I happen to be the writer, but for everybody out there that might be confused about, you know, communication difficulties or sensory difficulties. And as parents, we don't come with a manual, do we? I mean, every parent needs a manual probably, but even more so when your autistic child doesn't maybe behave in the way that you were expecting or like you were when you were a child. So I think the biggest thing for us was we were a social enterprise at AuKids. It didn't make any money. We really did it for the love of it. I can genuinely say that, and to make a difference to parents and make their lives easier and help them to champion their kids, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Okay then, Kofi, do you want to ask yours, mate?
Yeah. How would you explain to someone what autism is if someone wasn't aware?
That's a really good question, Kofi, because I think as much as we know about autism, it's really complicated, and some of the trouble is that people can't explain it in a simple enough way. But AuKids magazine is actually called AuKids magazine for a reason, and it's spelled AuKids, so it's spelled like the AU of autism, but it's actually designed to sound like orchids, the plant. So I don't know if anyone here has ever owned an orchid.
I have.
Have you owned an orchid? Well, you'll know, James, then that orchids don't need the same conditions as other plants in order to do well. In fact, if you water an orchid in the same way as you do another plant, it really won't do very well. It needs spraying, doesn't it? It's got all sorts of complicated things going on. But if it gets the right conditions, then it thrives. And that is exactly the same as autistic people. It's not their autism that causes a problem. It's the environment they're in. And I guess you lot are all thriving because you're at Pure Innovations and you're out around people who understand and get you. So that is the same for anybody who's got a different condition. They need the proper, right environment. And I would say that these are people that have a slightly different operating system and they need a different environment to thrive, and if they get it, then all's good.
Yeah. It's really clever name, actually.
Yeah.
Here's a little fun fact. The AU stands for the chemical element gold.
Gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
It's my first thought.
and another thing. If I were to describe autistic people in general, I just think about it as someone who markets things differently, such as, you know, say like open source software, say something like Linux or Blender or
Some people might not know what you mean there. It's getting
Yeah, we're struggling
technical.
here.
Yeah. But it's a different kind of software.
or even something as a Blue Ocean strategy as Nintendo. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Google Chrome and Safari. Sort of
Yeah,
like different-
something like
or an
that.
Apple, Mac, or a PC.
Right,
It's
yeah.
a different operating
Yeah,
system.
that's a good way of putting it.
yeah, but Linux works especially well because you know it's open source.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Love that.
like, that's...
Right then, who is next? Louise, do you want to ask your other one?
Sorry.
What would you say to someone if they thought they couldn't do something because of their autism?
I think the only limit to what you can do is you yourself. My personal view is that you should never be limited by other people. If Einstein or Newton, those very famous scientists, had been told you've got autism, therefore you can't, I doubt that they would have achieved what they'd achieved for the world, but we now think that both of those scientists had autism. And I know autistic people in every walk of life, so it's not a limiting factor. I think the only limit is possibly when other people around you don't understand it. And I suppose what I try to do in some of my books and some of my work is to help autistic people explain their autism to other people so that they do get it and they then get the right environment. And that should be the only limit. I would never allow anybody to tell you what you can and can't achieve. Well, that's whether you're autistic or not.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on that, Fox?
I'm gonna say nobody can really do everything. We're just not human. That's just not human like that. But at the same time, our ambitions are wild, and I don't think in people with autism necessarily have a problem with that. It's just the fact that our environments are generally so unaccepting. But if we can do our bit and just accept neurodiversity as a whole, I think the world would be a better place, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay then, Sarah, do you want to ask yours then, mate?
Who and
It's alright.
who have some good book? What is the one that you enjoy writing the most and why?
Oh, what's the book that I've enjoyed writing the most? I've enjoyed writing them all for different reasons, because as my twins grew, I would write something about the stage of life they were at the time. So for instance, 15 Things They Forgot to Tell You About Autism was very much what I was going through when they were at primary school. And then Championing Your Autistic Teen at Secondary School, that I wrote with an inclusion expert, Gareth Morwood. That was because Bobby had a great experience at secondary school, but I knew
Better than most.
better than most, exactly.
Better than mine.
And then I looked around me. In fact, I spoke to a parent whose son was so unhappy at school. I just thought, this is unfair that a normal school can do so well for somebody like Bobby, and then other schools can be so bad for other people. So that was why I wrote that. And then Just the Job is for autistic people looking for work. And I've written that with Maura Campbell, who's autistic herself. And that was because really Bobby is at that stage now. So they're all written for different stages. Possibly my favourite is The Ice Cream Sundae Guide to Autism, because it's a cartoon book and that's for children. And it's to help children understand their autism, and it's for brothers and sisters. And that became a bestseller, and it's made a lot of difference to a lot of families. So I probably like that one the best.
Lovely. Is there anything that you wanted to say? Bobby, is there any one that you like the most? Any of the articles?
I'll be straight up honest. I think all of them are good. To be honest, I sometimes read
Right
it.
answer.
Come on.
I sometimes read them, but I'm gonna have to agree with Debby on the Ice Cream Sundae. It's a nice visual way of explaining.
Yeah, you guys like
ASD, and I think it can be adapted in more ways than even she has described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean the Ice Cream Sundae was again a visual way of describing autism easily. And we forgot to say, didn't we, Bobby, that towards the end, so the last few issues of AuKids magazine, I used to do a back cover, a back column on my own personal experiences for AuKids. And used to sort of write about the twins. And then for the last year, Bobby took that column over, and he looked at my earlier columns about trips to the dentist and things like that, and he said, this is what was going on for me then.
I got going through his whole life in the book.
Yeah. So it was quite good to look back, wasn't it, Bob?
I'm gonna say this was a stage in my life where I was probably starting to understand myself a bit better, and when I was getting a bit more self-aware.
Yeah, I love that. Right then, Rob, do you want to ask yours then, mate?
Okay. How how does it feel knowing your books and magazines bring a smile to people's faces?
That's a nice question, isn't it?
That is
I
quite
mean,
positive.
I hope they do. I hope they don't bring a frown to
They
anybody's face.
probably do. The only people, listen, the only thing they're gonna bring to people's faces are people who are probably entitled and think they know it all.
Good
Well,
eye.
I mean, Ross, when you all liked the magazines, didn't you? As soon as we
Yeah.
got them out, we were all intrigued
Yeah.
about the different articles. So I think it's done its job.
Thank you. I mean, you know, all anybody wants to do in the world is make a difference. You're all making a difference in what you do here, and so it's really nice. I think the best is when somebody actually writes to me who's read a book and tells me about the difference, and it makes me laugh because sometimes they say, "Oh, I'm sure you get loads of letters," and I think I really don't. So it's really nice when somebody says, "You know what, my child was really struggling to understand, and then they read the Ice Cream Sundae and they got it and they feel proud of themselves," and then I think, like, job done, really. Just one person saying that is enough to get me thinking, yeah, job done.
Love that. Okay then, James, do you want to ask yours there, mate? So, how can we get involved
How can we get involved
in what you do?
or what you do?
That's very kind. I love it when people ask that. I think it's really to tell people what's out there. The publisher who publishes my books is actually a specialist publisher, and autism is one of their main subjects. So it's Jessica Kingsley Publishers, and they do some amazing work. They have some of my favourite writers as well. So it's just to, like, if you like the books and if you like the magazine, to just sort of tell more people about them. Especially AuKids, because that's free to download. So there's not a lot in the world that's free these days, is there? And I hope that even though that we've finished writing that after 50 issues, I hope that life will still run on for that magazine, because there's a lot of information there that's relevant at any time.
I think that make that a good thing.
I remember the name Jessica Kingsley. Seems
Yeah.
like something you'd be quite interested in.
Yeah,
I'll get
yeah.
that jotted
Oh,
down.
you just photo one.
They have books written by autistic people, they have books for autistic people, in every kind of subject you can possibly imagine. And we've got more autistic writers now, which is a good thing. So,
Lovely.
yeah.
Right. There's one more question from Kofi.
Is there anything you would like to ask us?
Any questions for these guys?
Do you have any questions for these guys, Bobby?
Oh yeah, well, only a few, to be fair. What is it? What do you do? What do each of you individuals have? What strengths does each one of you have as an individual?
Who wants to answer what we do here? Anyone? Anyone? No?
I'll go with it.
Go on then.
Right.
Go on, go for it, Jen.
I think what all of us do, we all got our own strength and meaning for what we all do together.
So, you do a lot of work on disability awareness, don't you?
Yeah.
Types up, he researches, we record it, he edits, it goes out. On the we have a radio show every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We have a 20-minute slot. Rob has like a little section that's, so the work goes out and he has a little section that splits halfway through. So it's called Rob's Riddle. So he comes up with riddles and he puts that in the show just to split it up.
So what frequency is that?
Oh,
It's on
it's your FM.
yeah.
It's actually
On all 7, I think it is.
I think it's 107.1 or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we'll have to tune in, won't we?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Sarah does lots of work as well. She loves Disney films and movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Louise is obsessed with football.
Oh, yeah.
She's a Man United fan, unfortunately.
Oh, okay,
She does a lot of work on Man United and
Harry Styles at the moment.
Harry Styles, yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that's very philosophical. My
I
interest.
have quite a lot of strengths actually.
Yeah, go on.
Like I listen to music when I come here and just talk to friends like Bobby.
Nice.
So I feel like I made friends that's quite caring and get to know each other.
Can I ask you, did you feel a little bit isolated before you started coming to Pure? Has it given you sort of more of a social life than you had before?
I've always said yes.
Yeah.
You're all quite close, aren't you? Up
Quite
here on a
close.
Tuesday, on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
nice.
you're all close to each other, so
Yeah, you can tell that. You can tell it's a real sort of family atmosphere.
Yeah, you all look after each other and help each other with your work.
Yeah.
Like Mark helps you with your editing, and
yeah.
Sarah helps Mark with his work, and then Rob will record with Sarah, and Rob will record with Louise and stuff. So they all help each other out. It's
It's
nice.
a really wonderful thing that
Yeah,
you do
it's
here.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to ask? Or
Well, what are you all going to do today then after we've gone?
Well, I've got some editing to do because I finish off something. I can't remember what it is again now.
yeah, no, we'll find it. I can't exactly remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll find it.
Yeah.
You're going to do your riddle, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to do your riddle today.
Yeah, I just love doing my riddles.
Yeah.
Do you make them up yourself?
Well, I just copy like, from the computer, and I just pick whatever.
You research them?
I research, yeah.
You choose a song as well that suits the riddle, don't you, to
Yeah.
play while the answer is quite clever, even though it is quite clever sometimes how you do it.
Oh,
Then-
so it's themed.
Yeah, so we'll choose a song that's similar to the theme of the answer of the riddle.
That's so clever.
and it's
Yeah.
like a little hint as well, almost, it is.
Oh,
You said you're doing Harry Styles, aren't you? Yeah?
yeah.
And we've got to think
and
of...
I've got a news bit coming out.
A new
FA
script.
Cup United.
Yeah, we need to finish that, don't we?
Yeah.
And then you just need to figure out something for you two. Kofi and Sarah need to figure out something
Yeah.
for when you guys are gone.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, have a great day after we've gone.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Well, yeah,
much
yeah.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you
Yeah, well,
for
thank you
coming.
for coming in and talking to us. It's been nice, hasn't it?
No, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah,
It's our
yeah.
pleasure.
Right.
I really enjoyed it actually.
Good.